Now, we're back to the Runnin' Rams Basketball Hour with Coach Jim Barron, presented by Rhode Joe's Saloon, legendary food and drink, and 920 WHJJ.
Welcome back to the Runnin' Rams Basketball Hour. Steve McDonald with Jim Barron, the head basketball coach at the University of Rhode Island, here at Rhode Joe's Saloon, legendary food and drink. 515 Kingstown Road right here in Wakefield. Great deals every single night. Tonight is 10-cent wing night here at Rhode Joe's. You just flat out can't beat that. They were packing them in last Monday night, and it's just starting up now. So the crowd is coming in at a pretty good clip. Find out what's going on at Rhode Joe's by following them on Facebook at facebook.com/Rhode Joe's Saloon. That's facebook.com/Rhode Joe's Saloon. Conversations with Coach presented by Supercuts. Supercuts every time. Jim Barron, a 1-1 week for the University of Rhode Island since last we talked. A win at St. Louis and then a loss at the University of Massachusetts. A difficult game yesterday, but going back to the St. Louis game, some success for you on the road and a tough place to play.
Well, there's no question about it, Steve. Our guys really did a great job of executing our game plan of what we wanted to do, and we went into that game really opening the floor up because that we felt that their team defense was very vulnerable, and we took advantage of that. We also did a great job of rebounding the basketball, sharing the basketball, and then we did a couple of things where we allowed Delroy to take them one-on-one because their team defense was pretty weak, and our guys stepped up and did a great job with that, and then we rebounded and out-rebounded St. Louis at St. Louis is something that was very pivotal in coming out of victory in St. Louis.
Absolutely. You're shorthanded on that trip, and we want to get updates on some of the players. But first, being shorthanded, you had to go to some people that hadn't been as big a contributor for you in the first half of the season, but an Anthony Baskerville, guys like that came through for you in a big way.
Well, there's no question about it. And, we've told these guys all along that they got to be ready, and they got to work hard in practice and preparation for being called on. But, that game, we had a number of guys really step up. I thought Outerbridge played one of his best games. He played 22 minutes. He got 8 points and 5 rebounds. And then, like you said, Baskerville, we brought him in, and again, he stepped up and hit a big three early on.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to do is kind of rest Marquise, because again, we know that the length of the games are going to be tiresome for him. And I thought Anthony did a great job, and then we also brought in Ben Eves to kind of spell Delroy, to give him a bit of a rest. And we're going to be trying to do that continually down the stretch here because it's going to be important to maximize the effectiveness of our guys.
Yeah, I want to pick up on a couple of things you mentioned. First of all, Orion Outerbridge, impressive against St. Louis. Shortened his stay on the court against UMass. He wrenched the knee, injured the knee, did not come back to play. That was in the first half of play. Did not return to the game. His status as we see it now.
Well, his status is right now day to day, and Mike Montero has been very busy with trying to get him rehab and see how he is in practice tomorrow. And again, it's just going to be day to day because he tweaked it in the game, and then he didn't play for the rest of the game in UMass. And I thought at the time he was playing very, very solid, very well, especially running the floor. He got a nice dunk, and then he got a nice jump shot on the baseline,
Sure did, yeah.
which is something that's very important for us. And again, he did a great job in the St. Louis game because they, when you put in a guy like Orion Outerbridge, they really can't guard him because he's so athletic and bouncy, and plus he can really face up and shoot the jump shot as well as get early baskets in transition because he runs down the floor so quickly.
So it seems like, and anything can change at any time, but it seems like it's more of a short-term thing with Orion rather than a long-term.
Well, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
And again, Mike's, he's evaluating him, and he's got the doctors looking at him, and we'll see how he is in practice tomorrow.
And you compound his absence with the fact that Will was in foul trouble, and that just makes that situation that much worse.
Well, there's no question about it because those two guys have really been complementing each other all along, and you really need to have that 1-2 punch because Orion really, he complements Will because of his athletic ability, his ability to score, his ability to block shots, run the floor, and especially face up around the foul line or in the corners.
You played without Daniel West, both in St. Louis and with the University of Massachusetts. An update on that situation.
Well, he was academically, ineligible, number one, and then he was irresponsible and violated team rules. So, he's no longer with us. And, again, it's just an unfortunate situation. But, we wish him the best.
And I know Jamal Wilson, last time we talked yesterday, you thought he was close and might be a contributor in Wednesday's game. Is that timetable still leading toward that?
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, we're trying to look at them in practice and preparation for the games, and we tried to do that leading up to the UMass game, and it just bothered them too much, and we're trying to do the same thing in the Fordham game.
So a chance to see him there, and if not, then more likely than not it would be the Temple game. But obviously at home you can control the situation a little better. Probably to get him a few minutes at least there would be helpful.
Well, there's no question about it, and a big thing about him is he's a junior. Mm-hmm. It's just like Outerbridge. I mean, both of those guys are juniors, and they've been through it for 2 years, and now all of a sudden, you're counting on Akeem Richmond as well as Nikolai to really step up and step into those roles that you would ordinarily have juniors take hold of. But, again, we want them to get healthy and get back into the thick of things as quickly as possible. And Mike Montero is working very thoroughly with trying to get them healed up.
In that UMass game, Coach, you came out of the gates and just ice cold. Missed the first, 8 or 9 shots that dug a hole that you got out of. You actually took a 2-point lead at 32-30, but expended so much energy to get there, just couldn't sustain it.
Well, it really was. And again, I'm telling you, I got a chance to watch the film, and we had great looks. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had absolutely great looks at the basket. And, in the past, I mean, to beat St. Joe on the road, we put those shots down. To beat Richmond on the road, we put those shots down, especially early on. But again, you keep moving forward. There's no excuse for it, but we did have a tough trip home from St. Louis. And again, trying to turn it around and play against a good UMass team that they got some athletes and they got a lot of depth. And the kid Curley is a very, very good guard, and he's a senior as well as Korea. And, they stepped up and made some shots. I mean, they made some big shots against us. And, again, we run and we push the ball and we play up tempo, and early offense is something that we've been relying on ever. We played against Pitt that way, and, we're down 2 with a minute and a half to go against the number 4 team in the country. So we want to continue to be aggressive, but by the same token, we also have to try to be smart. When we don't have early offense now, we got to run offense and try to move the ball and get some reversals.
We talked about the foul trouble that Will was in and how that was compounded with the injury to Orion. Had Orion been healthy, you can cover that up a lot easier. But Nick in foul trouble as well, and even more so with 3 fouls in the first half. You had to bring him back in at that point to get him some more time, even with 2. And that's a person that you just flat out need on the floor.
Yeah, Nikolai. Yeah, no question about it. Well, that's why we switched it up and went some zone.
Yeah, right.
We went some zone, whether it was a 1-3-1 or a 2-3. And I tell you what, it was a great strategy. And they had a tough time against that. But we could hold them so much. Now we got to make shots. What dug us a hole with missing shots got us back into the game as well as a lead. And when we got up 22-20 and we reversed the ball and Nick made a great pass to Akeem Richmond, if that shot goes down, now it's 25-20 and we're leading. That's a whole different scenario. So, we as a staff, my assistants and myself, you don't want to overreact, because that's what got you in a position to beat a Richmond on the road, to beat a St. Joe on the road, to do the things that we did at St. Louis, to win those games. But the one disappointment that I had was rebounding the basketball. I thought that out-rebounding St. Louis on the road, now going up to UMass and telling them that we really needed to rebound the basketball, and then we came out of the game losing the battle of the boards 43-32. You just can't have that. I mean, you have to build consistency if you really want to maximize your effectiveness as a basketball team.
We used to see the zone defense in spots, like coming out of a timeout for one possession. We saw it on a continued basis in that UMass game because of foul trouble, and also you had a shortened bench.
Are we going to see it more and more as the season goes on? Is that part of your game plan going in?
If those whistles are blowing, if those whistles are blowing,
Sure.
And all of a sudden, we hear the call of our ball, on the road. So, again, you're trying to protect. And again, Nikolai, the fouls that he got, the one over the back, he's being aggressive. And then, he took two great charges against Curley, and they took Curley out of the game. But I said, Nick, you got to keep doing that because he's coming at you full force. And that's what, the next step for our team, and especially our younger kids, is you got to think the game. Besides play the game, you got to think the game. To take good players out of the game, you have to think the game and know what their routine is as far as what they like to do. A kid like Curley loves to drive the ball going right. So we knew that, and we talked to the guys about stepping in and taking the charge. Nick did that twice, but now he's got to do it a third time. We got to do it a fourth time so that we possibly can get him out of the game or put him on a position of having 4 fouls and having them worry about, what they do next as far as who they're going to bring in off the bench.
When you talk about rebounding and how important it is, and on Wednesday you're going to have the leading rebounder in the league coming in to the Ryan Center, and Chris Gaston for Fordham. Fordham, a team that the record really doesn't tell the full story. They're a much improved team under Coach Picard, and they're playing some good defense, and they're a team that is going to jump on a couple of teams before this is all said and done, and Gaston's going to be a tough customer.
Well, there's no question about it. He's averaging 11 rebounds a game. He's the leading rebounder in the league. This is a team that beat St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, St. John's just
knocked off Duke.
They beat them bad, yesterday in Madison Square Garden. So, Fordham they got some athletes and they can score. They got 4 players in double figures. So this is a team that is very productive. They can score the ball, they can shoot the ball, and Gaston can really carry them. So we really got to try to limit him from, getting second and third shots. But by the same token, we got to step up and we got to be aggressive and try to get our bench into the game. And then, we're playing at home, so hopefully we have a phenomenal crowd to really get gelled and get fired up.
You touched on the shooting woes, and you have to make shots, and you can't score for 54 points in a game and expect to win too many of them. 7 of 30 from 3 on Sunday. Not so much concerned with the 7 because I think we've addressed that. 30, is that too many shots from the perimeter? Do you need to get closer looks in order to be successful?
Well, you got to take good shots.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the part of it. I think you don't want to have to go to take that many.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is when you're really stressed and now you're coming from behind, you're trying to hit. It's like a grand slam in baseball. You're trying to hit for the fences.
Sure.
And again, you're trying to get back into the game. And the 3-point shot really got us back into the game and got us a lead early on. But now what you have to do is, if you don't have that particular shot, now you got to run offense, get some reversals, and really try to move the basketball around so that you don't put yourself in a position of forcing shots.
Marquise Jones in that game yesterday became the 4th URI player with 400 or more assists and 140 or more steals. And he has really, as his career hits the home stretch here in his senior year, has been a maybe under the radar, very, very solid contributor for you for a long time.
Well, you know what, Steve? Not only on the offensive end, I think he's one of the best guards in the league. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. We call on him to do so much of defending the best player, whether it's Kevin Anderson or whether it's Curley or any particular player. He's called on to play against the best offensive guard in the league of any team. So Marquise has not only done it on the offensive end, distributing the basketball, getting steals, and really doing a yeoman's job of defending the best player, especially the guards of the opposing team. So he's done a terrific job for us. And, this year he's called on to score a lot more from the standpoint of, even moving him to the 2 guard sometimes, which we've done early on. But he's a guy that's improved and gotten better each and every year that he's been here.
And, Coach, I just want to wrap up with you with a word about our next guest. Delroy James is going to spend a few moments with us, and he is somebody I know that you got great regard for and somebody that's been a huge part of this program.
Well, you know, Delroy, I mean, even though he's from the other side of Brooklyn, you know, he's had a heck of a career for us, and he's somebody that's very special. He puts his heart and his soul into everything he does. He's got great passion. He's got great loyalty. He's got great pride. And again, he's been a terrific leader for us in so many categories. And but sometimes he shakes so much he shakes me. I gotta wear a neck brace because he's shaking and baking, and he shakes me on the sideline. But you know, he's a terrific individual. He's a great family person. His family is he's got a great family. I recruited one of his older brothers, so I was in his home. Mm-hmm. He's got more trophies and more gold than anybody I've ever seen in his house. I think his father could melt those trophies and make a lot of money in that James's house. But yeah, he's a terrific young man, and he's not only, you know, doing a great job on the court, but he's on track to graduate. And I know that's something that's very special to him and his family. And you know, hope we can really finish up strong for not only Delroy, but for the rest of the seniors, because this is a very special class.
Absolutely. We'll talk to Del in just a bit. Coach, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it, as always. Good luck against Fordham come Wednesday night. Jim Barron with us in the Coach's Conversation, brought to you by Supercuts. Supercuts every time. It's all part of the Runnin' Rams basketball hour right here at Rhode Joe's Saloon. Legendary food and drink. Great deals every night. 10-cent wings tonight. That is a super deal. Find out what's going on at Rhode Joe's by following them on Facebook at facebook.com/Rhode Joe's Saloon. We'll be back in just a bit. Delroy James coming up.